Welcome to the Institute's Leading Edge, a show dedicated to helping the automotive aftermarket service industry. Covering topics suggested by you, the listener, we dive into what's important, getting you what you need to succeed. Welcome, everybody, to the Institute's Leading Edge. My name is Kent. I'll be your host today on episode, 85? Culture of Gratitude. Dad, what did you say at lunch? You said an attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude. Although I said I struggle with the attitude of gratitude because I always look at what's wrong and not what's right in the world.
So those of you who are watching, remember you can like this video and share it. It helps us out. It tells the algorithm that we're good stuff, and only if you enjoy the content, though. But we want to make sure that other shops can benefit from this content as well. So if you enjoy it, it was educational, you learned something, please give us a like and a share. And also, if you guys have any questions or comments, please hit those down. We are watching in the comment section down below. We'd love to answer those and engage with you so that you can be part of the discussion. Let's introduce our panelists today. Obviously, myself, Kent, my dad, Cecil. But we have Bri Cole from Elite Auto, Rhode Island, and Julia Matt from Victoria Auto Service. Thank you guys for being a part of this podcast. We're very excited to talk about this topic. Because it seems even just recently in some of the conversations I've had with some clients that there is a lack of appreciation in a multifaceted way. And I'd love to get into that. So again, if you guys have any comments or questions, please let us know in the comment section down below. So culture is important for any automotive business, right? But always seems to trend higher during the holidays as shops are focusing on sharing their gratitude with their staff. Tell us maybe a little bit about your position on that and how you've kind of seen that culture affect your business. And I don't know, Julia, if you want to start that off.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So I guess just to clarify, you want to talk about how the culture of gratitude, especially at the end of the year, affects our business?
It's a great place to start because that's when it's a little more prominent, but there are areas that I'd love to get into about gratitude in a more focused area, a little more situational.
I'll start with go ahead.
One of the biggest complaints from employees about their employer, whoever it is that they don't feel appreciated. Mm-hmm. And I think this ties into the attitude of gratitude. You know, are we thankful for what we have, even if what we have is not perfect or exactly what we want? And then I would tell you, I don't think that we ever necessarily get everything we want because our wants and needs change as things happen in our lives. And so are you, a glass is half full person or a glass is half empty person or and how does that affect your business?
Yeah. Well, thanks for clarifying. So, I personally tend to lean on the glasses half full side, but in our organization, our company, here at Victory, we have a myriad of different kinds of people, right? We're all different. So some of us, showing gratitude, it comes more naturally, and others of us, we have to put work into it. And even for me, when it comes naturally to me, I still have to be purposeful to do it because you can just be so busy with whatever you got to get done that you're just not thinking of that. You're just thinking of your tasks. So I definitely have to be purposeful for it. But for our company, I guess during the holiday season, so we always have a year-end party that we celebrate the year accomplishments, our hard work. And then we always like to do something for our employees just to show them that we do appreciate them. And as Kent was saying, it can go beyond that, just that time of year, which I for sure try to do that. But that's always that party that we have every year is something that we always look forward to. And we always have lots of funny memories after that we talk about throughout the years.
I thought you were going to go.
No, I'm waiting for you, brother.
Okay. So gratitude is not only with the employees and the business itself or vice versa, but it also has to deal with like the customers. Just Definitely. The other day I was talking to a shop and their techs were complaining about having to work on the POS, this POS car I don't know, I hate this, but it was the work that's there, and
Yeah.
so what I'm kind of looking for is how do we translate, or how are we looking at gratitude in the business and in various parts, right? Are our technicians grateful for the vehicles that they're working on, right? How are they dealing with customers and that kind of thing?
I think that you have to, first of all, have some idea of what it is you want. So I think setting goals and targets is one of those things that helps you appreciate things, because if it's very loose, like I want to make money this year, I want to pay off my bills this year, whatever that is. If it's so loose that it's hard to measure, you don't know when you've achieved it, when you've gotten there. And so I think when you're working with staff, by creating even short-term goals, like this week we're going to work on, I don't know, our productivity, and then being able to sit down with your staff and go, look, wow, we did this and we did this, and look at what happened. Our productivity went up by 10%. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, and maybe it's now at 80% instead of 70%, and it's not at 110 where maybe as an owner you want it. But I think you have to give routine feedback that says we're going there. And I would also say we've watched, because of what we do as a consulting company, we have all kinds of different companies that come into our groups or that we work with as consultants. And we've watched employee, you go into a shop where everyone's kind of disengaged, meaning, they're there, they're doing their job, but they're not excited about it. They're not, focused. They're not pushing hard. They're just doing their job and getting a check. Mm-hmm. And I think when the owners start to format a plan, and the employees can see that not only is there some kind of a plan, but we're working towards it. In other words, we're making changes and adjustments in the business to make their lives better, as well as our own, of course, and create a good product for our customer. But I think when the employees can see that, it starts to build kind of an excitement.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot of shop owners that kind of feel like this business sucks and I'm stuck in it. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to be profitable where I'm at. And that kind of attitude kind of permeates the whole shop. So when the owner's given up, then the employees have given up.
Right.
So I think one of the things we can do to create more gratitude in our company, first of all, I think we have to be grateful. And second of all, I think we need to have some kind of goals and some kind of a plan, even if our plan doesn't necessarily work, but if it gets us one step closer to the target and we can point that out, I think we create some excitement. At first, maybe it's very small, but when they haven't had any, a little excitement,
right,
it can go a long way.
Right.
Yeah. Bri, what do you have planned for the holidays?
Regarding the business?
Yeah, regarding your team,
so
culture,
really,
all that.
Just for my team, I know that we do, it's not really Christmas now, or then, but we do Christmas in July. We split it up every 6 months. We'll do Christmas in July, and then also a Christmas for Christmas time for the holidays. Kate, the other owner, she's going to make dinner or a lunch for Thanksgiving. And we also, like Julia, will have a Christmas party. We'll all go out together and dine together. Really something, like she said, we look forward to it. Just to have a lot of laughs, end of the year stuff, joke about things, let loose, and hit off the next year with a bang on a collective note.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I was just, we're talking about this because it's November and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. So it's a time to be grateful and be thankful and all that. And so just seeing like there's businesses out there, they don't do anything. It's just, all right, you're off for the holidays. I'll see you back when we're ready, And how damaging can that be to a business?
It's
I think
a number, yeah.
I think if you're not celebrating routinely, I mean, it's really nice to have Christmas and Thanksgiving because they remind us, right? Thanksgiving, we're supposed to be thankful. We have even though maybe things aren't perfect in our society today, there's food in the refrigerator. I can go make myself a sandwich or, a meal. And for most of us, our lives are, I think we forget how how easy or hard life was, 100 years ago. My father and mother didn't have an indoor bathroom when they started out, when they were young. They had an outhouse, and in some places they didn't have electricity. And we can go home and turn on our TV. We pull up our phones, and we can communicate or play games or whatever. But so in some ways, our lives are much simpler because I can go to the grocery store. I can turn on the electricity at home, keep my house warm. I don't have to go out necessarily and chop wood and all of that just so I can survive the winter. But in a lot of ways, our lives are more complicated, and we're more distracted now than ever, and we forget to let people know how much we care about them and how much we actually appreciate what they do, for us and for our companies. And so, thank heaven there's Thanksgiving and Christmas, because without it, maybe we would never tell our people how we like them. I think one of the things that's super important really is that, Ken, you're the big guy about planning, like, sitting down once a day and pulling out your thing and saying, I've got these jobs today and all that. I think we have to schedule time, what I call smell the roses time, in our calendars, where we put all our cares aside. So oh, my shoulder hurts, my back hurts. Last week wasn't a great week for us. We didn't hit our goals and targets and blah blah blah. But we got to throw all that aside at some point and go, things are pretty damn good. Our lives are. I got a car. I can go where I want. I can go when I want. If I want to go out to eat, I can go out to eat. Have somebody else make a meal for me, and it's a pretty dang good meal. And so I think literally one of the things we should do now is schedule that sometime in our weekly calendar that says, be grateful, right? Just take 10 minutes and think about what you're grateful for and the people around you, and then go tell somebody, thank you. And I know I don't do it. I know I'm like everybody else. I'm so tied up, and most of the time I'm looking at the glass being half empty and thinking about the 15 things that are going wrong today or didn't go exactly how I wanted. But I forget about the 500 things that are right in my life.
So,
right?
So Julia, I know you manage a pretty large team. How are you keeping your attitude of gratitude up with your team throughout the year?
So here at Victory, we have 9 locations. And so we do have a big team, and to get to be able to talk to everybody and to be the example. And Cecil, I loved what you said. It absolutely can be a discipline and something that you practice regularly. But the way that we do it is communication, I guess. So, if we have stores all over, we have to be emailing, we have to be calling, checking in, see how they're doing. And then one of the things that is my favorite, so we are big into reviews. We love reviews. We check them, we respond to them. And a customer that sends us a really awesome review and really praises like one of our team members or a shop, I blast it out to everybody. And I add their boss in it. I add the whole team. And and there's other people that do this too in our company. But we'll say, hey, Brian, what an amazing job you did with this customer. This is so cool to see. And then everybody pitches in, even the other managers and stuff, and they'll congratulate that person on a job well done. So just involving everybody else in praising somebody for something well that they did. I'm sure you can hear this. We're in an auto shop, lots of background noise. Anyways, but just involving the team, doing it first, leading by example, but then giving everybody else the opportunity to be a part of that. I can see definitely an impact by doing those kinds of things.
I'm taking notes. Blast out the good reviews to the entire company. Involve the team in praise. Practice gratitude through your communication. Gratitude is a discipline.
I think I would add to that, do meaningful things. Because I think sometimes we do things that are like they're necessary. Like our company meetings as of late, we do weekly meetings, and I think they're super important. But I think we're missing that. I mean, we're doing them, but we're missing that, like, this is really important. And there's meaning in this, and it's a meaningful thing for us to interact and talk about the successes that we're having. And as the leader of the company, I think, Kent, you're probably equal in that. But for myself, I think I'm falling short there, because we should be celebrating more, and we're not celebrating as much as we should be celebrating, I think.
Yeah, well, me and you have kind of had our heads down. We've had a lot of work we've been doing with with RLO and putting the company services together. It's been for anybody out there who's gone and done an acquisition or bought another company and done that, it's a pretty big ordeal. So, but the thing is, we know it, we've caught it, and we're likely to adjust our approach. So, but yeah, Bri, what do you guys do to keep things in a good headspace?
Mainly for me, I'm like, Ken, I'm really new to this role as the service manager, but it doesn't stop me from continuing the things that I've done prior to being in this role. For myself, what works for me usually tends to work for other people. So I'm a high fiver. Hey, great job doing that. I'll walk by a service writer and say, hey, I heard your conversation with so-and-so client. You spoke with enthusiasm. You showed the job awesome. Keep up with that. Same with the technicians. Just reiterate that what they're doing is a great job. And if they're not, try and be as positive with that reinforcement as you can be.
I always think people
are awesome, Bri.
Yeah, I've got young kids, and I always find similar comparisons. Everybody's just a little kid who just wants to know that they matter.
That's it.
Wants to know that
absolutely
they exist.
As little as it may seem, it goes such a long way. You don't even know the impact it may have on that person. So
I think when you're like, when I was a tech and I was fixing cars, fixing the car was kind of like, it got my energy because I could fix the car. And then when I became a service advisor, making the sale, and in our shop, we used to have this, we wanted to have a bell. So like for every $1,000 that you sold, you could ring the bell. But we kind of thought, well, if the client heard that as they were walking out, right, I'm ringing this bell, 6,000, I did it. So instead, we were doing gang signs, like, I sold $2,000 or I sold $3,000. We would do little things like that for sales to keep everybody up. But I think that as time has gone by, now I'm in a consulting company. We're not selling every day. We're not fixing cars every day. How do we find those things that we can go, hey, you did that, you knocked it out of the park? And I think that's another thing. We have to constantly be looking for even little things that we can talk about that are positive. And I think if you do that, as opposed to, playing the blame game or looking to who do you, that car, wheel fell off of that car. Oh my, whose head are we going to chop off? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, the wheel fell off. Nobody got hurt. How do we fix it so the wheel doesn't fall off? And then, well, wait a minute, over here, somebody really had a difficult car that they figured out. I mean, they did something amazing. This thing that's amazing ought to be more important necessarily than that wheel that fell off. And I don't know that it is a lot of times. Those things that go wrong, we seem to pick out and pay it. It's that one angry customer today. I might have 9 customers that are just, oh, thank you so much. And they buy everything. And then one guy comes up and he's crappy and he gives me a hard time. And then all of a sudden I'm down because one person in my company, that came in was a turd today. Right. Yeah. And I think we got to be, throw that one away and let's look at the 9 right? Let's look at the other stuff. And I wish I had the answer to how to really do that. But I think, again, if you put reminders out there and if you create like habits of finding something good in everybody, I mean, I had for the longest time, I had a note on my computer and it said, if you want to be a manager, manage. And so, if you want to be this kind of person in this position, then you have to do the action that it takes. And so I would say maybe we need to put a note that says, look for something good today to thank somebody for, or to talk about company wide. And if we did that long enough, even though I don't have that little sign, I still think about that sign that was there for the longest time on my computer.
So I want to shift gears here, and kind of because we've been talking about gratitude for a little bit here, and I'm sure the people who are listening are going, oh yeah, that's great. That's all nice. And it's great that we all feel special, but why should we care? Why should we care about this?
Well, I can tell you right now, and I'll try to be short and give other people more time, which is difficult for me, but we
just talk over him.
Just jump in. First of all, we need to have successful companies, and successful companies mean successful people that work here. And there aren't enough of those people in our world today. I don't care if you're running an automotive shop or a restaurant, frankly, there just aren't enough really good people. And who wants to work in a place where you're not appreciated? I think people work more for appreciation than they do for money. I mean, you have to pay them, and you have to pay them well, but people leave businesses all the time for $1 an hour. And are they really leaving for $1 an hour? Or are they leaving because something else isn't good? We want to have this really good culture and this happy culture in our companies because it will keep and attract happier people, which make my life better, right? Having those people around me.
There have been tons of studies and articles all about that, and all about why people leave companies. And I guess to answer Kent's question, why should we care? I mean, that's a huge reason why we should care. But also, I mean, like tons of experts. I'm not an expert in this field, but I like listening to them and hearing what they have to say. And they say that gratitude is also like very important for your own well-being, and your own, not just your mental health, but like your overall health. Taking time and like seriously on a regular basis, taking account of what you're grateful for, and just refocusing your mind. And when you're doing that yourself, I mean, when you're a leader and you are doing that yourself, it rubs off on other people. You can't lead without setting the example first, unless you're a do as I say, not as I do, which, as anybody with kids knows, that does not work.
It does not work.
My mom's famous statement.
I think you can be successful short-term, kind of bullying people as a manager or an owner, but I don't think that you can ever have any kind of long-term
and you know
success.
what? How hard is that emotionally?
It's horrible.
It drains you.
Yeah, and
your team.
The leading cause of death is stress, and if you're looking at everything that's wrong in your life instead of the 90% of the things that are right and working, then you're just gonna. It's a downhill slope. It's a very drastic downhill slope.
My session this morning with Brian, we were talking about, we kind of looked back at when we first started with him and where he's at now, and he's overcome some stuff. Like he got hit with an audit that, I mean, when we first started with him, that would have destroyed him. And so we were kind of going through, and he's like, all right, it's all handled now. We got that all covered. We're great to go. And we just kind of spent the session looking back at the progress that's been made. And it was kind of nice for him to go, yeah, that we have made progress. It's wonderful. And I'm not stressed out anymore. I'm doing really good. We've got a good team going. And so it's kind of nice. It gets your momentum back up, because I know that continually pushing to achieve can be really, it drains you, you know? And so taking that time to be reflective, I've got it on my calendar, and Bri knows that I do it every Friday. I do a review and a reset, and that's part of it is being grateful and looking back at my successes and what I have. But it's a great opportunity for you to recharge a little bit, you know, give you more momentum. Yes, I am successful. Yes, I have this stuff, and I've got that. I know that I can do more. I can keep going.
It's just taking the time to force yourself to do that. That's
why I schedule
that has to get built. Yeah.
So my dad was talking about scheduling. So I even wrote it down here. So schedule points of gratitude, where you can put that into your calendar. I already do that. But definitely doing it more, well, for myself, but I should do it. I should do it in that instance he's talking about. So our team meetings, we should definitely do that. I've added it to my list. I want to make sure that we're hitting some point of gratitude with the team during those meetings.
Can I tell you a team meeting gratitude thing that's kind of fun?
Yes.
I haven't done this in my meetings here at our company, but I've done this with an organization I'm involved with. And the gal that leads our meetings, she asks our team, you know, I want to hear from either last week or last month, the last 2 months. It depends on the frequency of the meeting. But anyways, I want to hear from all of you what our wins were. And so the team then has an opportunity to share what the wins that they were or what they witnessed and shout out other team members. And I always so you have that sense, okay, are we wasting time right now doing this? But then seeing the camaraderie that is built, seeing the momentum that we have, and then how our minds are open to learning whatever the new material is that we're learning, like it's phenomenal and it's worth the time. And she takes like 10 minutes to do it. It doesn't feel rushed. And then after that, we go over what things we would want to improve as a team. And it's phenomenal. So it's fun when you not are just saying it at people, but when you're involving your team to give feedback to and shout each other out.
Yeah, that's great. Dad, remember you were just saying
the
on
SWOT
Monday,
analysis thing.
We did the SWOT analysis
in our company.
like, why does it end with threat?
Yeah, I don't want to end with threat. I want to end with, wow, we got so many great opportunities here, and you know, we do a SWOT analysis about half the time at the end of our meetings, and it's kind of cool, you know, what's the good stuff and blah blah blah, and then last is threats. I don't want to end with threats anymore.
I know, it's so scary. We were like, that's a horrible note to end on.
It's your company. You can mix it up.
I know, right? We will. But I think you're right. I think one of the everything we're creatures of habit, humans, and we, if we're not thoughtful, our habits can overtake us and that are not good, right? And that's that funk that we can get in, and that you know, I've never drank, so I don't drink alcohol, never really have. But I know some people that you know, they have one drink and then one leads to two and two leads to four. And if they were thoughtful and they said, okay, I've had one drink and now I'm done, I stopped. I think it's because the thought process isn't there. We have to be thoughtful about where our minds are going and where we're spending our time and energy. And I don't think we are most of the time because we're so busy. It just seems, I mean, I don't know about you, but my job and what I do seems almost overwhelming, you know, most days, right? And
well, that's why I say, you know, in my sessions, and Bri's heard this, but if I can't manage my own time, I have no right to manage others' time.
PTO, baby. PTO.
But it's to that thing, you know, like if we've got our heads down in the trenches and we're not paying attention, our job as a leader is to make sure that we're the, what do they call that? The rooster. We're the ones looking out. We're the ones spotting. We have to be able to see above the grass line at where we need to go. That's our job.
Could you imagine if we spent our time as owners, managers, thinking about our staff and how we could help them be successful? You know, what could I do for Kent today? What could I do for Bri today that would make Bri
I like this.
more successful?
I like this.
If instead of, well, you know, Kent's not doing this and Bri's not doing that, Julia's not doing that, Cecil's not doing this. If we spent more of our time saying, how could we help that person be successful. I think a really good manager, most of their time should not be spent on in a shop writing service or working on cars or even necessarily struggling with the numbers and trying to put the numbers together. I think most of their time should be spent, how do I help this person overcome whatever challenge they have? How do I help them win in their position, right? Yep. And if we did that with a majority of our time and really focused on helping our people, not only would they be better, their numbers would be better, our business would be better, but I think we'd live in a much happier family, right? And I think that's where we need to be. We need to create those habits that do that for us.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and ultimately by helping your team get to where they want to go, you're gonna be getting to where you want to go as the byproduct.
If you've done it right.
It's great. Right? Yeah.
I've always said, leave your funk at the door. I heard that today on a podcast, and, leave it at the door. I could have had the worst night last night, family issues and all of that, but I come in and I lead by example. I'm the one that sets the tone. So.
Well, you talk about segregating your time. So this is an agreement I've had with my wife for a little while that, when I'm at work, I'm 100% at work. Most people are not. I'm not 100%. That's a bold statement. I try to be 100%. And that being what I'm getting at is I don't want to spend 30% of my energy during that time on that thing. Like if I'm at work, I shouldn't be thinking about my family. I shouldn't be thinking about, my friends and stuff outside of the business. Because if I'm engaged 100%, then I'll get more out of the time I'm spending there, and vice versa. If I'm at home, I shouldn't be thinking about, oh man, I really should have done this at work. I should have done that. No, I should be 100% engaged with my kids and my wife and my family. And having those points of segregation of your time and your attention is really important. When I come in in the beginning of the day, I'm at work. This is what's going on now. Obviously, I'll be available if there's a family emergency and all that. But I've talked with my wife about that. Say, look, I need to be focused here so that I can make this work well and spend my time as efficiently as possible.
I think
shutting it off at night, that's tough.
Yeah.
Good job.
It's nice. I write it out. I do my review at the end of the day. I clean off my desk and I'm like, all right, I'm out. And then I don't think about it. I'm at home,
Yeah.
I think our families need to know that they're the most important things in our lives. And even if I'm at work, if something is going on with my family that I need to know about, then I want to know about it. If my kids or my grandkids now are being rushed to the hospital, you better call me and let me know, because now I can make a decision. Do I leave work and go to the hospital and make sure they're okay, or get whatever information, stay here? But I think also when I'm at work, I need to be at work, and I need to have as few interruptions, and I don't want to have a lot of my luggage from my family on my back when I'm at work.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not heartless.
Yeah.
the right. the point of being 100% engaged while I'm at work is so that I'm taking advantage of that time. I mean, the whole reason I'm spending time away from my family is so that I have a source of income that can provide them the life that I would like them to have. And if I'm split in my attention and my engagement, and I'm not being productive during that time and being engaged during that time, then I'm robbing them of the success that I could have if I was 100% engaged.
We can't have our business so overwhelm us that we can't shut down and spend time with our families and not be thinking about work. And I think there are too many automotive shops, technicians, owners, etc., that spend 12, 14 hours a day at their shop and to the expense of their families. When I'm here for the 8 to 9 hours that I might be here, or even 6, depending on the day, or 4, I want to be here. I want to be focused on what I need to do, which isn't the easiest thing. And then when I go home, I want to be focused on home and my wife and my kids and whatever else I want to do there. And I don't know. I think there's too many of us in this industry that are just literally overwhelmed by our businesses, and it doesn't allow us to have our family lives.
Mhm.
No, that's a great point, guys. And that's when you're not so overwhelmed, you can feel like you have some more time to think about things like gratitude and company culture and stuff.
Yeah,
That's good. That's a good practice.
there
I'm
has to
gonna-
be separation.
Yeah. I'm going to cut in here just for a quick ad break. And thank you guys for watching. If you are or listening, those of you who are listening to this on our podcast, if you enjoyed the content and you learned something, or you just were able to get a little reminder to be thankful for the things in your life, give us a like and a share so that the algorithm says that we've got good stuff and that other people can benefit from that good stuff. Take a look at our upcoming workshops on our main site, wearetheinstitute.com. We have a newly added Napa BDG course that we're doing. It's not only Napa, anybody can join that course. We have a couple listed up on the site for 2022 and some this for the rest of the year. In fact, I'm teaching one on December 9th about managing yourself as an owner or a manager. And you can check that out in person, see this face in person, and get some of the stuff that we've been talking about today. Let's get back to questions though. So I want to shift again. Let's talk about what are some of the red flags that maybe aren't as apparent that shop owners should be looking for when it comes to bad culture in their or toxic culture in their businesses.
Do you have that guy who works for you that you kind of throw in a back corner and he does a lot of work, but nobody wants to talk to him and you don't even want to go out there and hand him a work order?
Yes.
That's a flag, right? I mean, that's a get rid of that guy or that person, guy, gal, whatever. Everybody, we're a family here in a way, right? Work is it's a little different family, but it's a family. And if you have that if you have that angry uncle that's a little weird, you can't get rid of him because he's related to you. But when he's in your business, you can get rid of him out of your business. It's not the same. That's a huge flag. If you've got that employee that you're literally, if it makes your hair on the back of your neck stand up, or it makes your stomach kind of, we've all know that feeling when there's something that kind of, it's a little scary or intense for us and our stomach kind of grabs up. If you have someone at your employee that does that to you, you can't have that person because they're not only doing it to you, they're doing it to everybody. And that also affects how your customers, your clients see you and interact with you also.
Right. Yeah, to go off of what you said, Cecil, we actually, in fact, we had a technician just recently that we had to let go simply because it wasn't his work that was the factor. It was the fellow technicians were very unhappy with him. He would have a question and then not answer or not listen and really just overtake everybody in that conversation. So he didn't fit our culture. He wasn't willing to learn. He thought he knew everything. And although his work was great, I just didn't work out for him here. So we were lucky enough to actually have somebody walk in 2 days later, 12 years European experience, and he makes everybody laugh in the back of the shop. I mean, I have
Amazing.
in the last 4 days, I have heard all three other technicians laughing and joking and having a great time. So just from last week to this week has been an incredible change from that.
Isn't it kind of amazing when you get rid of that toxic person, how
Right.
the universe provides, that just the right person walks through the door and everybody kind of picks up the slack a little bit in your company and they're all happier. And for some reason that also includes increased performance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very, I don't know, I'm a kind of a black and white guy. And years ago, one of those shelves up there, it's all self-help stuff. So I started reading all these self-help books and, all of them, they're like, "Ooh, the universe will provide. If you put it out there, it'll come back, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, this is crap. Right. But it's not. I mean, it is, if you create the right environment, if you have the right people, if you actively pursue happiness and joy, the universe provides. That guy walks through your door, you're thinking, "Oh my God, how am I going to get all this work done?" And now, and then the guy walks through it and here you go. Right. It's amazing to me how that all works out when you're in the right place.
What are some of the red flags that you've seen, Julia?
So I guess I'll say a red flag, and on the opposite side is the green flag. But Cecil, he was mentioning something earlier, but when something goes wrong, is your team looking to blame somebody? Are they blaming each other? Does nobody want to take responsibility for what happened? To me, that's a red flag. That's a red flag that the culture is not good. There should be grace for, an accident that happens or whatever. And then I would say the reverse on that, the green flag is noticing your team helping each other out. I mean, is somebody willing to stop the job that they're doing to run over and answer a question for another tech? But I mean, I seeing that, like I said, we have a bunch of different shops. And so I've definitely seen both over the many years. And when it's the red flag version, we know that there's some work to do, right? And that we got to figure out what's going on there. But I think one of the best things is a team that wants to build each other up and help each other, and not feel the need to cast blame on each other. That's a sign of a really good culture in my eyes.
I think there's a couple of phrases that would be real red flags for me. And one is, that's not my job. And the second one is, I don't get paid for that. And whenever I hear that, for me, that's like a huge red flag that something's not right. Because
right.
If I'm doing my job right, then I'm helping other people. I might be doing someone else's job who needs my help today, because tomorrow they may be helping me.
Right.
And I just, for me, I mean, that's one of the things that will also set me off as a manager or an owner. If someone says, well, that's not my job. Whoa, right? Yeah, it may not be actually in your job description, but right now that's what I need you to do. So those to me are kind of red flags. And I think we have to be very conscious about blame. And we want to like literally eradicate blame out of our businesses, except in the very few times where there really needs to be this person has made the same mistake 5 times. Then there needs to be some accountability here.
Right.
And I think Julia said it in a way that I would say it maybe a little differently. We don't want to be focused on blame. We want to be focused on solutions in our company. If we're focused on blame, then we're not making progress. If we're focused on solution, then we're making progress. So.
Right. That's a rule of thumb here, actually, is there's always going to be problems. But if you don't have a solution to correct that problem, don't talk to me. Get a solution and then we can talk.
And I think we have to be tolerant of mistakes and look for pattern failure. Again, when I'm teaching management leadership, I'm teaching people to look for pattern failure. If you're not tracking numbers, if you're not looking at information, then, or if you're really having a bad day, you may blow up when a mistake is made instead of looking for the pattern failure. Mistakes are a part of business. Mistakes are a part of life. They're going to happen no matter how good you are. And there has to be some tolerance and something built in for mistakes. And then if you're a good manager, you're actually looking for pattern failure and looking for solutions to pattern failure with your team routinely most of the time.
I would say that there's never a time where there's never an option. Because there's always an option. There's always something you can figure out. It might take a little more brain power, might take some help, might take bouncing ideas off of someone else, but there's always an option. It's never hopeless, And with that mentality going at it, and again, being more solution focused, hey, no, if I always know that there's always going to be an option, then anytime I come up to an obstacle, I know that there's an option. I have some way to get around this somehow. Dad, you used the reference, some basketball guy. If there's a wall, I'll go through it. I'll go under it. I'll go over it. I'll go. Yeah, the basketball.
There's a Michael Jordan quote. So it's a great quote, frankly.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. A lot of this stuff, it's fun for me because I've got young kids, and these are all lessons I work with my kids on too.
When you said earlier, like we're all kids inside, I think that what works for managing people and getting the best out of people also works for managing children and getting the best out of children. I don't see it as being different.
Right.
And I think if you're a dictator, either in your own home or in your business, you'll never get the best from the people that are there. You just won't.
If you really think about it.
True.
If you really think about it, we are just big babies.
Yeah, that's the truth. A little worse on some days than others, but
there's gonna be some burly technicians out there that are getting offended.
Yeah.
How dare you call me a baby? So
Well,
so
we all carry our we are a function of not only chemicals and personalities, but we're also a function of our environment and what's happened to us. And we all of us carry something with us. And we may be aware of it, we may not be aware of it, but I think that there is a child inside all of us that just wants mom, dad, whoever to be happy with us. And I think we're more comfortable in that circumstance than when they're not happy with us.
So for the shops out there that who are watching this and potentially realizing that they might have a culture problem, what's the first steps that you would take to implement a culture shift?
Define the culture you want. I don't think you can move forward without having some idea of what you expect or what you want. So that would be step number one for me. Go ahead, Julia. You were going to say something, and then actually Bri was.
That's really good, Cecil. I was going to say, start with yourself. Start with building habits yourself. I agree with Cecil, but I guess I'll give an example. One of the things that I do is I keep little cards on hand and I prep them. They say thank you. And then I'll write out a note to somebody in the company just to say thank you. So a handwritten note goes, seriously a long way. Again, I'm not an expert in this stuff, but I love listening to experts, and a bunch of them talk about the value of a handwritten note. I have old handwritten notes from other people that there's just something about it. So that's a really easy one. It doesn't have to be long, but just recognizing somebody for something that they did or something that you noticed about them goes a long way. So that's a really good habit to just slowly start building. And then I'd say one other habit, and it depends on your shop environment, right? But I do our marketing. I'm an office person. And so I'm walking through the shop and then into my office. It'd be really easy for me to just go through the shop, head down, go into the office and get my work done. But what I purpose to do is to, as I'm walking in each morning, say hi to my team by name. People love hearing their name. It's science. They just do, trust me. And it makes them feel like recognized as an actual person. And that to me builds appreciation. When somebody feels seen as a human and an individual, they feel more appreciated. So that's just a practice that I've done. Whenever I go to a shop and I'm about my business and I have a mission to get to, I make sure that on my way, I am saying hi to each person by name and then looking for an opportunity to talk a little more if the day allows. But just saying hi to somebody by their name as you're going to what you're doing is a really, really simple, low-level way to start.
I would
building that.
I would add, you seem extremely genuine to me, and I think that's important that we're not that we're genuine. And I think a thing that a handwritten note does is it says I took a little time to put my thoughts together and write something down instead of, I think sometimes I use sarcasm a lot, and I think it's probably a negative thing in most cases. Oh, shut up.
Ken, was that sarcasm?
That's yeah. We can't be we have to be genuine when we thank people. We really have to feel it and mean it. Or it actually can be a negative instead of a positive, right? So
that's why I'm as honest as I can be about the good and the bad. People tend to take what I say, more seriously that way. If I'm being honest about everything, then when I say good stuff, they know that I mean it.
Right.
Something that I do, that's become a regular thing for me. Every Friday we get pay stubs in the mail. Someone drops them off, and one of the owners here, Jim, he sat me down and said, when you're handing out the pay stubs, this is something that I learned a long time ago. You go up to the person, you shake their hand and say thank you. So just that little bit of something, kind of reflects the handwritten note in a way. It's very personal. You say thank you for your hard work. And that's something, Julia, I'll take from you that I'll actually start doing myself.
I like the thank you card idea. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who wants to pile of thank you cards on their desk? Oh, come on.
Cecil, put them in a cupboard. You're fine.
No, I
Use a
like
scratch
to.
note. It doesn't matter
there
what
you
it's
go.
on. Use a
There you go.
napkin. Who
When
cares?
I-
Anything.
When I have awkward blocks of time in between stuff, 15, 20 minutes, something like that, and I don't have anything else pressing, I'll go and I'll kind of do a walk around. How are you doing? What's going on with you? I want to be involved and make sure that my employees know that I care about them and what's going on in their lives. And I genuinely do.
Same here.
Because if I have somebody working for me, I don't know who they are. I don't know that I trust that. I want to know who's working for me and that we all hold the same values and goals and vision for the company.
We all have different things that excite us or make us happy. And I think as owners or managers, we need to learn what it is for our people.
And having those conversations allows you the opportunity to learn those things so that you can work them into ways to help develop them as a person. I don't know. I always see my point as my job as a manager is to develop people.
Yep.
And help them grow personally and professionally. Right. So I want to provide them the opportunity to grow on a personal level. That might be, skills that they want to learn or provide more free time. Lex, she likes to travel a lot, and we worked it out. She ended up moving to Oregon. And so she's moved to Oregon, but we still have a solid connection with the company. So providing those opportunities for her to pursue the lifestyle she wants as part of my job as a manager is to create that opportunity for her.
I think we need to be paying attention to how we can help our people continuously. And if we have to write it in our calendars so that we actually stop and do it, we need to do that. I love the thank you cards, Julie. I think that's fantastic. When we got paychecks, I wanted to hand those out and always shake the hand of the person that I was handing their paycheck and thank them for working.
Yeah, but direct deposit is so convenient.
I know.
It is, but that's really cool though.
It also takes, but so you can still say thank you.
Right.
I had employees that at the end of the day would come by my office, just kind of float by my office towards the end of the day as they were leaving, because they wanted their pat on the back. And so I had 3 or 4 people that as they were walking out, I was like, hey, Phil, great day today, man. You really killed it or whatever. Or if he had a bad day, I was like, Phil, man, I know it was a tough day today, but tomorrow's going to be great. You're going to do great tomorrow. And creating that kind of a habit where you actually had employees that would come by, it was really interesting because they could have went out the other way easier.
Right.
They walked by my office with the door open so that I could do that. Paying attention enough to recognize, that and be able to do that for your people, I think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
That says something about the kind of leader you are, Cecil.
Well, it's not
really
the same here. It makes me crazy because we built these beautiful offices and now we only have like 2 or 3 people in here a day because a lot of our people are working remote. It's a lot.
It's all right. We're growing in 2022.
Yeah.
So those of you out there who are looking for positions, hit me up.
An in-office one, okay?
An
we'd like to have
position.
somebody close by.
We have beautiful offices. They're all brand new. They smell like fresh paint.
They are beautiful.
And most
They are
days
beautiful.
it's just me and Kent here. So it's like, oh my gosh.
Dang. Yeah,
All right.
you need some friends.
So,
Yeah,
so
I do.
we're getting near the end of this thing. It's November. It's a time to be thankful. What are some final thoughts we can leave the audience with?
Final
anybody.
thoughts. Yeah. I'd love to share a final thought. Okay, so that the gratitude, the culture, the company culture, all of that. I just want to say, and we mentioned it a couple times throughout briefly, but I want to emphasize on the fact that your customers feel that too. So the culture that you create, yes, it helps employee retention. Yes, it helps the individual. It helps your team work better and be more efficient. But not only that, it makes you a more desirable business for somebody to come in and spend their money at. Nobody wants to go to a place. You can feel it. You can feel the environment of any business when you go in and how the employees feel about their jobs. And so when you're creating that, you're creating something that is very desirable for your customers. So it's worth it for so many reasons. So yeah, just do it. And I'll keep getting better at it and growing.
I just wrote down a note to call my clients and say thank you.
There you go.
Good job, Ken.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
So
Final-
go ahead, Bri. You were starting. You go ahead. I'll go last.
That's all right. Final thoughts for me is really just going to be the biggest thing for me is, and it's going to sound really, 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 what's the word? Basic, but just smile. I'm huge with smiling. Smile. That I nail that home every single day. If you're not smiling, something needs to be talked about. So, and that there needs to be a solution for that, so you can be happy and continue your day at work. Because if you're not, then culture isn't there. So
That's good, Bri.
I think your happiness and your smile are so important, because I teach this class where I talk about, the do's and don'ts of attitude. And if you're angry and mad, it's so easy to bring everybody down around you, and just and those are the days where you're going to have a crappy day. I mean, not only personally, but business wise, it's just not going to fall. It isn't going to fall. But if you're happy and you're up, those are the days that are more likely to be great days. You have to do that. Right. I'm gonna add one more thing to the whole thing. If you're an owner or manager, you need to do what it takes to keep your people engaged. And engaged means, they're excited about their place in the business. They're excited about their success in what they do. They're excited about serving your clients and helping people, take care of their cars. And it shows in how they deal with people. And I go through so many businesses where I listen to phone calls. I listen to hundreds and hundreds of phone calls from service advisors who are not engaged with the customer. They're doing, it's just like this automatic Bob's Auto, instead of, thank you for calling Bob's Auto. How can I serve you today? What can I do for you? Right. And being engaged. I think we have to have an active plan of engagement for our businesses to keep our employees engaged and happy in what they do. And it's not about money all the time. It's really is so many other little things that you can do as an owner or a manager, like thank you notes and a smile on your face and a pat on the back. And when they've had a tough day, recognize it and let them know that tomorrow it'll be better. And because it always is better tomorrow after a bad day. So anyway, that's my final thoughts there.
Perception is reality. And having a gratitude mindset and culture in your business helps focus the perception of your team on the things that are good, right? We even, Bri, I do coaching with you. I haven't worked into my coaching where we're talking about the things that you've accomplished and the progress you've made, so we can acknowledge that growth. That's all part of it. Because if you see the opportunity and what's good that's in your life, that's what you'll be fixated on. And if you're not doing that, and you have a culture that is actively looking for all the problems and flaws and stress and all of that in your business, then that's the kind of reality you're creating in your company. Mm-hmm. So I think gratitude is insanely important. And that just feeds into that perception. And I want to thank you, Julia, Bri, for being on the podcast.
I have to add one more little thing before you wrap it up. I really have to add this.
He has to, everybody.
Be nice to the old guy. We have to remember January, February, March, and the rest of the year. We can't only do this in around Thanksgiving or Christmas. And we have to be very, very genuine with our people and help them to win. And we have to constantly be doing that. And that's going to create a much better culture and environment that's going to help our companies, and it's going to help our employees to be successful and to live. And what I really wanted to say when you said something rude and kind of distracting, don't say it, live it. You have to do it. You can't say one thing and do something else. Your actions and your words need to come together with an attitude of gratitude and the thought that, how do I help these people succeed?
Daily practice.
Yeah.
I love it, guys. This was good.
Thank you so much again. Those of you who are listening, if you enjoyed it, give us a like and a share. Check out our episode on December 8th, where we're going to be doing an annual holiday update episode. It's one we do every year, where we kind of talk about what the Institute has been involved with for the year, what we've accomplished, what we've completely, blew up, our failures as well, and just kind of a review in that. We're going to be talking about some of the clients that we've worked with and their wins as well, and talking about the future of our company and what we'd like to do in the industry. So it's going to be about us, but it's also going to be about what we're doing with everyone else. And if you want to tune in and listen to that, you can check it out on December 8th. And if you have any other questions for us and want to reach out to us about building a culture of gratitude and a successful business, if your company is not where you'd like it to be, please reach out to us at wearetheinstitute.com. We'd love to talk to you. And thank you again so much for being on this episode. That's it for this one, and we'll see you guys in the next one.